Season 9, Episode 3. We got to check in with a good number of the contestants this week. We kind of backtracked back to, I believe it was day 12, and I think we ended on day 16. Last week we ended on day 15 when Jacques tapped out. No tap outs this week. I don't think there was anything major going on, so we'll just kind of rip through all our contestants. As always, we'll just go through things one at a time. I'm sure there are things I'm going to miss, but please let me know, who you're rooting for and what your highlights for the episode were. We'll just go through in order of appearance tonight. So first off, we have Jessie. She was working on her permanent shelter. Seems like she's got a good idea, but feels quite ambitious, and I don't know if it's going to pay off for her because, we saw her working on that shelter basically all episode long. And what did she end with? Basically, a really fancy frame for a shelter that appeared like it was probably going to have a flat roof. I don't know exactly how much snow to expect in northern Labrador. That area, I know that, just kind of southwest from there, they can get pretty significant snowfalls. So I wouldn't think it would be much different in Labrador. So I would probably not want a flat roof on my shelter heading into the winter. I did like the idea of using the 4 rooted trees as the corners, but outside of that, we'll probably have to reserve full judgment on that shelter until it's a little further along. We did see Jessie setting up some snare lines for squirrels, which immediately started paying off for her. I think she ended up taking a bag or a pair of squirrels. We did get that scene with the mother squirrel, finding her dead child squirrel, and it kind of feels like the squirrels could be the thing that just starts pulling on everybody's heartstrings this season, and potentially could be the cause of the most tap outs for the season. I would have never thought that squirrels being too cute was going to be a threat for elimination on this show, but we've already seen multiple people this season seem to be affected by killing and hunting the squirrels. So yeah, Jessie, pretty decent week for her. Expended a lot of calories on that shelter. Not sure that's going to pay off for her, but we will have to see. Igor, once again, did not get much from him. We didn't get much from him in episode 1 either. We saw him having a seaweed feast. He's not catching any fish, so he's kind of just been surviving on seaweed. He's building himself like a proper log cabin. His progress is going quite slow on that, but he does manage to kill a grouse with his saw, which was kind of awesome. We didn't get to see the whole thing, but to take down anything with an unconventional weapon is a pretty impressive feat on alone. Next up, we have Adam. One of the first things that we see him doing is making his own cob. So he was taking some clay, mixing in some chopped up grass, and used that all to make himself a chimney. Kind of weaved a wooden frame for a chimney, and then plastered all this cob on top of it. And it seemed like it worked out pretty well for him. By the end, he seemed like he had a very solid chimney that was doing its job. Even managed to put a weather flap at the top of the chimney to potentially keep any snow or rain out later on. We did get to see Adam throw a grouse or a stick at a grouse, and missed. I think he was probably wishing that he would have had a saw at that point in time, because we've seen that saws are probably the most effective weapon for taking out grouse early on this season. Adam has been having big success fishing, but he really started to strike out at the fishing this episode, and decides that he's going to have to rely more on his bow. We've seen him miss some grouse shots this season. He says he's probably missed 10 grouse shots so far. That is a lot of food to be missing out on, but that practice that he was putting in with the bow does finally seem to pay off, because he does bag himself a grouse tonight. Next up, we've got Benji. I think Benji's probably, this episode became my least favorite contestant. Anytime that we have a contestant who gets excessively arrogant, or basically starts trash talking the fans while still on the show, is definitely going to move down a peg in my book. So I'll be rooting for Benji to not be taking home the win this season. You know, he's building his shelter, and he's doing this whole explanation about the blah, 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 blah. And then we see his shelter. He's just thrown a tarp over a stick. Benji, do you have any clue where you are? Do you have any idea what show you're on? You just put a tarp on a stick and called it good. Talking about it like your shelter's done, maybe you'll have to do a little bit more later. Yeah, I think you're going to have to do a lot more once winter starts setting in. He does catch a bunch of fish. We see him making a fish cache. And I hope something sneaks up there and finds his cache and takes all that food for himself. We also got to see him take a shot at a beaver, missed the first shot, but hits it with the second, but was unable to find that beaver. And I don't think he will be able to find that beaver, which is unfortunate for him. But maybe that's just the alone gods, maybe putting you down a peg for your arrogance and your disrespect for the fans. Next up, let's jump over to Juan Pablo. He gets a shot at a squirrel, misses. We actually didn't get too much time with him today either. He starts finding a nice bear track in the mud. We got that shot with him comparing his hand to the bear paw. And then really the only other thing we saw from Juan Pablo is hanging his food scraps up in a tree with some tin cans and a homemade bell as an alarm system. With you being able to hunt the bears this season, if I had a decent shelter, I might just want to leave my food right in my shelter. Like, what's gonna happen? Like, you're going out and you're hunting the bear anyways. Like, why not just bring the bear to you in an area and a location that you control? Yes, that is a little risky, but I think hunting a bear is risky to begin with. Lastly, we got a brief check-in with Carrie Lee. She's working on her shelter and basically wants to use a lot of clay and other natural materials to help insulate it. She was talking about the insulation qualities of moss and the insulation qualities of clay, and basically just saying how much better clay is as an insulate over moss. But that is it for episode 3. As always, everybody, thank you so much for watching. You can probably hear my cat causing a ruckus in the background right now, so we better end this video. As always, everybody, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we will see you later.